The British royal family has long been seen as masters of maintaining absolute separation. Their motto: never complain, never explain. It's not just a rule, but a spiritual fortress protecting the survival of an institution. However, what happens when a crack appears from within? Insiders are buzzing about Princess Anne breaking the silence with The concise message consists of 11 words. Those 11 words are said to have created a psychological earthquake for Prince Harry in Montecito. Insiders speculate that the 11 words could be a confirmation of patronage or a warning about the confidentiality agreement has expired. Whatever it was powerful enough to shatter all trust. Let's rewind to the fall of 2016. A high-level security check was triggered. Normally, this would just be a quiet financial review. But with Meghan Markle, the security agencies seem to have stumbled upon something more. Gray area full of mystery. Under the lens of an independent investigation, the digital footprints tell a different story. During what was supposedly her most difficult period, her presence was recorded in luxurious floating cities in the Mediterranean, far beyond the financial means of a cable television actress. A custom-designed evening gown can cost anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000. The cost of a week in Monaco easily reaches $50,000. How can an actor earning $800 per episode afford such an extravagant lifestyle? This is where the term comes in. Strategic social position, it emerged. In intelligence circles, unidentified funding is a warning sign of potential security breaches. And if lavish parties are the stage, then Marcus Anderson is the director. The Istanbul event in 2015, a crossroads of East and West, was seen as Meghan's graduation, a signal that she was ready for the next level. But what Princess Anne discovered at Park Gatcombe was even more shocking: a secret alliance. The relationship between Meghan and Prince Andrew began in late 2019. Was the coincidence of both leaving their public roles a mere accident, or the first step in a coordinated plan? Princess Anne chose to break her silence for the sake of the crown's integrity. She revealed coded communications proving this wasn't a casual romance, but a long-term scheme funded by anonymous sources. Did Princess Anne attempt a rescue based on warnings from the national security system? Or are all these records just part of a larger scheme misunderstanding scenario? Is this harmful in an age where information can be distorted? Were Princess Anne's 11 words truly a blow to his beliefs? Or were they the key to unlocking a truth the prince wasn't ready to face? The answer will probably depend on how you connect these pieces. Do you believe in the power of love regardless of records? Or do you believe in the coldness of numbers and security data? Leave your opinion in the comments so we can discuss. In the world of closed rooms where billionaires discuss deals that will reshape the global economic map, the presence of an individual is rarely accidental. One hypothesis being put forward by observers is, could there be the invisible hand? What specific circumstances have created the unique routes and access for the protagonist in our story? The data reveals inexplicable coincidences. While the public image portrays an artist striving for self-reliance, the social footprints show a heavy presence at various locations. Sensitive coordinates, from luxurious super yachts to the exclusive circles of the Gulf elite. In the language of security analysts, the disparity between real income and a luxurious lifestyle is often seen as the mystery needs to be solved. Was this pure luck, or the result of a carefully orchestrated protection system? Princess Anne, with the mindset of a serious security practitioner, seemed to have seen through what a heart infatuation often overlooks. She did not view those lavish parties as mere entertainment, but as a systematic cultivation process. According to internal sources, palace security experts carried out a complex operational maneuver, network connection diagram. They compared travel diaries, unconventional financial reports, and social intersections from California to the Mediterranean. The biggest question wasn't who is she, but rather what facilitated this presence when funding sources don't appear in any transparent disclosures. It raises serious questions about the stability and security of royal relationships. A fateful confrontation is said to have taken place where Princess Anne wasn't discussing protocol, but rather national security. On the negotiating table at that time, according to rumors, was a dossier concerning sensitive international connections. She introduced a highly significant technical term, strategic social position, strategic social positioning. Let's analyze this concept together. In the upper echelons of power, individuals with exceptional charisma and networking skills are sometimes placed in positions close to high-value targets, not through blatant espionage, but through skillful manipulation, subtle social manipulation. They appear at important parties, are introduced to influential people, not by chance, but because they play a role as key figures. The link to fame as part of a long-term plan. Princess Anne is said to have pointed out that the photos in the files did not depict a lucky woman, but rather someone perfectly positioned within global power networks. At this point, we are faced with two opposing viewpoints. Harry sees in them the cruelty and prejudice of a closed royal family. But conversely, Princess Anne seems to be making a last-ditch effort to protect her grandson from a script that she believed had been written in advance. Is Meghan Markle truly a talented woman who opened the door to high society through her own charisma? Or is she merely a pawn in a larger strategic game that she herself doesn't fully control? According to internal sources, this profile paints a portrait of an individual who possesses not only innate self-confidence, but also a profound understanding of global power hierarchy. It is speculated that Princess Anne's warning carried an astonishingly realistic undertone. In the world of macro circles of influence, a person's presence is often inextricably linked to utility value, which they contribute to that ecosystem. However, in the face of what is considered irrefutable evidence, Prince Harry seems to have chosen to view the matter through the lens of love and protection. Instead of considering the security variables, he viewed it as an attack on personal happiness, an expression of the prejudice he so detested. As a result, financial reports, bills, and questions about the source of patronage were set aside, giving way to a fervent belief in a flawless, romantic scenario. To understand why Princess Anne was so determined, we need to look at empirical evidence, her. With over half a century of service within the royal apparatus, she has witnessed countless individuals attempting to access the core of power for various purposes. She developed a kind of recognition instinct for those incompatible behavioral patterns. In that dossier, every detail seemed to trigger her alarm system, from a lifestyle far exceeding publicly disclosed income, intricate connections in the Gulf region, to an extremely sophisticated yet flawed image-building strategy. Data crack compared to real-life situations. This is not simply a love story. From Anne's perspective, it is a long-term strategic plan. Let's set aside personal feelings for a moment and consider a more objective perspective. Economics of presence. Between 2008 and 2012, Meghan Markle's professional profile showed her as an actress seeking to establish herself in Los Angeles. With small roles and an estimated income of around $800 per episode on cable television, this was considered a salary for an average working-class person in the U.S. However, when compared to the leaked images, we see something else entirely: parallel reality. She appears in settings where the cost of even the smallest service can equal the annual income of a mid-level actress. From private parties in Monaco to exclusive events in the Mediterranean alongside international tycoons and powerful families. Let's do a hypothetical calculation. A first-class transcontinental flight, luxurious hotels during the peak season for the elite and bespoke outfits. The total cost of these trips often reaches tens, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. The investigative question here is, how can an average labor budget afford an elite lifestyle? If the numbers don't match actual income, then the hypothesis of anonymous sponsorate has become more feasible than ever. And in security circles, unidentified funding is one of the greatest risks to the stability of an institution. The veil surrounding this dossier remains one of the greatest mysteries of modern royalty. Was Princess Anne's assertiveness an act of protecting the monarchy based on verifiable security data? Or was it simply the rigidity of a generation unable to comprehend the freedom of the new generation? If you were faced with such contradictory numbers and data, would you trust your heart or the cold, emotionless intelligence reports? Could there be truth hidden within these unpublished words? Leave your speculations and don't forget to sign up to join us in unraveling the next files in the world of top-level secrets. In the world of luxury, numbers often speak a language of their own. A bespoke evening gown for high-profile events can cost anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000. When you add in grooming services and accessories, the cost of a week-long appearance in Monaco can easily reach $50,000. Investigation data shows that this was not an isolated event, but rather a series of events. Iterative pattern. Over many years and at various geographical locations, the question analysts are asking is, in an ecosystem where everything has a price, who is paying these enormous bills? Through Princess Anne's lens, power and luxury are never bestowed unconditionally. As the romantic storyline fades a trading map, they're starting to reveal themselves. Among the elite and international tycoons, discretion is often the price to pay for access, and beauty is sometimes used as a means to achieve it. The intelligence assessment appears to have reached a systematic conclusion. These were not random invitations due to luck. The absence of personal credit card bills, large cash withdrawals, or receipts for luxury services leads to a more professional hypothesis: full sponsorship. In the field of security, this term describes an individual whose every aspect from travel and accommodation to appearance is taken care of. In return, that individual provides the values that the elite crave: strategic presence, connectivity, and absolute discretion. Princess Anne is said to have posed a question that would make anyone ponder: what is the actual return on this investment? And more importantly, who is holding the reins of this script? If the yacht trips and lavish parties are the stage, then the confidential documents point to a figure playing the role of director Marcus Anderson. While the mainstream media often portrays Marcus as a close friend and charming consultant of the Soho House empire through the lens of British intelligence, he appears with a completely different definition: strategic coordinator, the orchestrator. Why is such a weighty term used? Consider the Soho House network, a private club ecosystem for global power and celebrities. Anderson's real skill lies not in hospitality, but in his ability to building relationships. He knew how to put the right people in the right place at the right time. In 2015, a year before the fateful meeting between Harry and Meghan, Anderson orchestrated what was considered a strategic milestone: the grand opening of Soho House in Istanbul. This was not merely a social event, but was seen by observers as a test for a future. Social status, Meghan's new life. We are faced with a labyrinth of theories. Is Marcus Anderson simply a loyal friend, helping a talented woman reach new heights? Or is he a crucial link in a long-term plan to connect valuable resources with higher-level objectives? When financial figures don't match the public image, and when manipulators appear at every crucial moment, we are forced to ask ourselves, could the greatest love of the 21st century actually be part of a carefully calculated strategic plan? The veil surrounding the Istanbul events and Marcus Anderson's role remains shrouded in mystery. Do you believe this demonstrates the power of genuine relationships, or is it proof of masterful social manipulation? Why has Istanbul become such a crucial location in this case? Located at the intersection of the refined Western influence and the massive influx of Eastern capital Istanbul, is not just a city, but a whole. Strategic buffer zone. This is where dialogues and deals take place outside of any official record system. Observers believe that the events here are not simply lavish inaugurations. They are more like a humanized capital markets. It is meticulously orchestrated where potential individuals are introduced to powerful patronage networks. Investigative documents suggest that this is precisely the point at which a specific network of connections from the Gulf region begins to emerge within the protagonist's orbit. If Istanbul is viewed as a graduation ceremony, it signals that an individual has completed their training and is ready to enter the next stage, the next level of international relations. And just a few months after this ceremony, the fateful meeting in London in 2016 took place, orchestrated by the man we call the facilitator, Marcus Anderson. The palace's reaction to the information allegedly from Princess Anne can be described in one phrase: chaos within the confines. A counter-statement was quickly issued, but what is noteworthy is what they said: don't do. Why wouldn't such a powerful organization take drastic legal action immediately? In the world of royal pronouncements, word choice is always a survival art. When denials are downplayed and lack absolute assertiveness, analysts often question an underlying concern: the fear of being proven wrong. The situation became even more complicated with theories about information leaks from other internal links. This was no longer a personal debate, but had become a serious issue. The battle of legal theories. While the legal teams of the parties involved focused their attacks on the motives of the person who leaked the information, one undeniable fact was the prestige of Princess Anne's more than 50 years of dedicated service. She was not a figure easily overshadowed by media campaigns. Behind the velvet curtain, close sources described an unprecedented atmosphere of urgency. King Charles was reportedly facing questions of considerable importance, vital to the institution. How substantial is the evidence? And how can we stop the torrent of information spreading globally in the 24/7 digital age? Traditional information control strategies appear to be proving ineffective against the power of independent discussion networks. Within just 72 hours of the underlying turmoil, the Royal Legal Council reportedly convened a special session. Their task was immense: to resolve a constitutional labyrinth. It concerned titles, access to the budget, and public service responsibilities. Under the guidance of leading constitutional lawyers, a complex draft was formed. It's not just a story about a typical divorce, but a process. Restructuring an institutional alliance. Concepts such as Queen Emerita, Honorary Queen, began to be discussed, a ceremonial title seemingly separate from political privileges or the right of succession. Changes in staff support and travel expenses within 90 days of completing the procedures were a clear signal of this. Resetting financial boundaries. We are witnessing a period where the old rules of the monarchy are clashing head-on with the harsh realities of data and security reports. Is this a necessary purge to protect the survival of a long-standing institution, or the beginning of an irreparable rift within the world's most powerful family? As the shadowy coordinators emerge, and as the financial figures begin to tell their own stories, will the public choose to believe the romanticized narratives or the cold, hard investigative files? Were Princess Anne's 11 words truly the code to unlock a turbulent new chapter for the British royal family? What do you see behind the curtain of these diplomatic statements? Leave your thoughts and join us as we follow the further developments of this investigation. We are witnessing a phenomenon unprecedented in modern history, a major surgery. Legally speaking, the highest positions are at stake. For the first time since the Royal Marriage Act of 1772, leading constitutional experts have had to sit down to establish a new roadmap for the future of the monarchy. According to analytical reports, this is not just a nominal change, but a significant one. Systematic interruption. Regarding all the material privileges associated with the position of Empress, a strict confidentiality clause is being drafted. An absolute wall of information separation. This demonstrates a profound caution on the part of the palace apparatus, preventing any potential distortion of history in the future. This is not merely a legal agreement, it is an effort to protect the sacredness of royal memory. While lawyers worked in the quiet solitude of their closed offices, the world outside was in turmoil. Memories of the past, particularly those of Princess Diana, returned like a psychological shock that permeated the corridors of Windsor. King Charles, in a state described as both responsible and hurt, issued a specific demand all proceedings had to be closed by March. The ultimate goal was a public reset, permanently ending the lingering repercussions of more than half a century. An old chapter written in the shadows was closing, giving way to a title no longer associated with real power and an identity that no longer carried financial weight. While the palace is attempting a constitutional overhaul of its top positions, another seismic shift has erupted this time, marking the final boundaries for connections within Sussex. Most notably in this case is the role of Prince William. Sources suggest he was the one who demanded the most stringent financial terms, including fines of up to millions of pounds for any security breaches. The message behind this action is clear. The integrity of history is not a tool to serve personal agendas. King Charles's internal struggle between father, husband, and monarch created a deeply moving picture. His focus was torn between his ultimate duty and his hidden sorrows. But as dawn broke, another event completely altered the situation. The curtain has been drawn, but the truth still lies in the gray areas of history. Was Princess Anne's action a necessary act of cruelty to protect the monarchy or the beginning of an irreparable rift? 11 words were uttered, a message sent at 7:48, and the monarchy may never be the same again. Do you believe in the power of cold intelligence reports or the choices of your heart? Leave a 2 if you believe in institutional protection, and a 5 if you see this as a personal tragedy. Don't forget to like and subscribe so we can delve deeper into the next secret files. The truth is still waiting to be revealed. William has declared a complete and permanent end to all future relations between the royal family and the Duchess of Sussex. No more conciliatory messages, no more open doors for reconciliation. It is an authentic border. It was outlined coldly and decisively. The door that many believed would always remain ajar has now been locked shut by a strategic decision to protect the heritage. That's right. 7:48 a.m. A coordinated media campaign was then activated. Prince William announced a complete end to all ties with the Sussexes. This was a cold and decisive, authentic border. That day would forever be etched in the annals as a day of redefinition. Was William's decisive move a step to save the future or the beginning of isolation? What do you think of this mysterious alliance? The greatest misunderstanding of the century or the final piece of the puzzle that unravels all the upheavals? This is not just an announcement, it is a synchronized attack in all major time zones. From London's morning news broadcasts to Asia's afternoon newsrooms and North America's late-night newsstands, the world seemed to pause to receive a single frequency of information. In less than 10 minutes, data from analytics platforms revealed an unprecedented surge of over 1 million interactions. Major news outlets like the BBC, Reuters, and CNN simultaneously changed their banners, relegating financial news and weather forecasts to the background. Veteran observers described this as an unprecedented phenomenon in my career. A moment when the mundane normal of life is completely overshadowed by a single informational entity. The most shocking thing wasn't the content, but the administrative tone of the statement. There were no personal expressions, no emotional appeals, and no references to past conflicts. Prince William's message carried a certain air of absolute determination. Remarkably, a profound silence ensued. All attempts at contact and questioning went unanswered. This appeared to be a deliberate strategy. Once the highest authority had spoken, any further discussion became superfluous. The silence at this moment is not a sign of embarrassment, but rather an integral part of the message. This decision is non-negotiable. By avoiding a direct speech, William created an analytical gap. Commentators lacked personal material to dissect, forcing them to focus on structure, precedent, and constitutional implications. However, a clear polarization emerged within society. Survey data showed a generation gap profound. While older generations see this as a necessary purge to maintain institutional stability, younger generations question this cold, decisive approach. Although financial markets only experience short-term fluctuations, market of trust is undergoing significant upheaval. Royal historians quickly searched for parallels in the past, such as the 1996 event involving Princess Diana. However, there was a fundamental difference. This time, the message was not conveyed through government channels but directly by the future king himself. Written by hand. At Kensington Palace, this event is described as a historical rift, not just within a single family, but across the entire structure of British society. Internal sources confirm that such response scenarios are typically prepared and refined over many years. What makes the moment in December 2025 stand out is not the surrounding noise, but the "it's certainly terrifying" of it. That day will forever be etched in the annals of the monarchy. It was not a day to celebrate, but a day of redefining. As darkness fell over the palaces, the biggest questions remained unanswered. Was William's decisive move a step toward saving the monarchy's future in a world demanding absolute transparency? Or was it the beginning of a systemic isolation where family values were sacrificed for the survival of the institution? Anne's 11 words, Charles's silence, and William's declaration all combine to create a picture of power where each brushstroke carries the weight of 1,000 years of history. Do you believe this was a necessary end or a strategic mistake that will change the dynasty forever? We are witnessing a moment not meant for celebration, but for marking a historic turning point. It is the day that Princess Anne, considered a beacon of steadfastness, decided that all limits have been crossed. The setting for this message was not the opulent palaces filled with rigid rules, but Gatcombe Park, her most private and peaceful sanctuary. This was not a royal administrative document. Why would someone who had dedicated their life to silent service risk their reputation at the last minute? Those present described a tense scene. Her face clearly showed the expression of someone who had kept a secret. The dark mystery. It had been too long. The knight's usually steady hands now trembled with the weight of a fateful decision. She didn't just say it. She presented what she claimed was evidence. The digital footprint is undeniable. Coded messages, call logs, and records of secret meetings all seem to paint an improbable picture of a connection between two estranged individuals, the Duchess of Sussex and Prince Andrew. Is the coincidence of their departures from public office a mere accident, or the first step in a pre-planned scheme? This is no longer a matter of ordinary family conflict. It's a matter of life and death, integrity of the crown. Let's analyze a shocking hypothesis. Two individuals who seem to have nothing in common are alleged to have collaborated for years. One left to seek privacy, and the other was forced to leave public duties due to personal scandals. Through the investigative lens of Princess Anne's secret alliance, it had been brewing since late 2019. A resonance designed to create leverage against the very system they once belonged to. Her voice, usually steely and calm, now carried the sharp edge of a restrained rage. She had chosen silence out of loyalty, but when loyalty was misplaced, she chose truth. The fact that a press conference was held at a private residence outside the control of the palace media team is an extremely dangerous variable. For the royal apparatus, what she revealed was not just information, it was a devastating reality. The question is, what did she see that was so terrifying that it warranted such a direct attack? The answer seems to lie in the legal boundaries and funding implications that lawyers are trying to unravel. But its shadow still hangs over the future of the monarchy. The question now is no longer whether this scandal will be forgotten, but whether this institution can survive. Following what has just been revealed, a line has been drawn by Prince William, but the reasons behind that action seem far deeper and more complex than we initially knew. The royal family cannot continue to operate in the same way. Faced with a choice between transparent reforms or a rapid decline in public trust, the monarchy is in a precarious situation. Unstable state. Insiders speculate that those 11 words could be a confirmation of the sponsor's source or a warning that the confidentiality agreement has expired. Whatever it was enough to shatter all beliefs. Princess Anne, a woman who never sought the spotlight, was forced to become a witness to this pivotal moment. What do you think of the mysterious alliance between these two figures? Is this the biggest misunderstanding of the century or the final piece of the puzzle that unravels all the turmoil within the British royal family over the years? This content is purely for informational purposes based on unverified hypotheses and opinions. Let's discuss it from an objective, analytical perspective. Don't sit still, interact with me. Press 1 for curiosity and 0 for skepticism. Like and subscribe now to join me in uncovering the truth behind the veils.